Hey, peepsy doodles. So I'm trying to do this in a 10 to 15 minute time frame, so we will see how this goes. Um, because I'm real hungry and I'm ready for some food, and my husband is cooking me some food. So I wanted to, originally I was gonna do like an entire show and tell. Kevin and I went camping well, we weren't camping. We went up like exploring for our anniversary weekend, which our anniversary was Saturday. And we stayed in a hotel, and it was beautiful, and it was fantastic, and I had a really emotional journey. So I was going to kind of talk about all that, and then I was going to talk about all of the things that I got, because there was different stones I found, there was some tree moss I got, there was this stick that I wanted to turn into like a staff, like there was all kinds of good stuff that I wanted to tell you guys about. But then something else that I got kind of took precedence, and it turned into a story all on its own. So that's what I'm going to tell you guys about today. So first of all, well, where do I want to start? Okay, so we were on our way back from this lighthouse that I've been wanting to go to for years. And I wanted to go to a couple different gift shops, just because the gift shops up there, some of them are like super hokey, but because we're in such a rich Native American culture up here, some of them have really cool hidden gems in them. So, and I do see all you guys. Hey and hi to all of you. So there was this gift shop that, if you guys have been with me since the beginning, Kevin and I found a shit ton of crystals at years ago, like 8 years ago. And we have gone there multiple times because they always have an amazing crystal selection. So on our way back, we were like, you know what? Let's stop there on the way home. So we've been there multiple times. We know exactly where this place is. We've been there, okay? We're familiar with it. Up where we were at in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, there's one highway. It's US 2, and it's on like you can't accidentally take a different road, like it's on that fucking road, okay? So we're driving and driving and driving, and we didn't pass it yet. And so I'm like, well, maybe we kind of forgot where it was. So I'm looking up on my phone this place, and it's not coming up. I'm trying all the different cities. I'm trying, gift shops near me. I'm trying gift and treasure and all these different, and it's not coming up. And I know that it's online. Like, I know that you can Google it, because that's how we found the hours and the phone number and stuff for the place every time that we go up there to camp. So I just thought it was really weird that I couldn't find it. I'm like, dude, I can't find it anywhere. So we're going and going and going. And we finally get to a point where we're about 6 miles from the Mackinac Bridge. And Kevin's like, dude, we must have passed it. And I said, how? Like, this gift shop, if you haven't actually been in it to see what kind of a gift shop it looks so hobunk. It's like, has this huge sign outside that says treasures. And it's like, it looks super sketchy. But there's just like signs plastered everywhere, so you can't miss it, okay? Especially when we've been there. Nowhere. Like, it almost was like Kevin said, he's like, it's almost like it was taken out of, it doesn't exist, it's gone. And I'm telling you that him and I passed it on the way up on Friday, because we're like, oh, we really should stop at that gift shop on the way home. So we passed it 2 days prior, okay? Gone. Couldn't find it on Google. Couldn't find it. Like, there's only one fucking road. We never passed. Gone. This place basically doesn't exist at this point, which both of us found really fucking weird. So there is this other shop that we've never been into, and I never wanted to go into, because it looks very hokey. It's like, it's got like Native American gifts and treasures and whatever, but it's shaped like a teepee. It's got a big Native American chief out front. It just seems like very exploity. And my husband's Native American, so it's like, but it just seems like super exploity. And I'm like, it just looks, no. Well, I really wanted to find something for my little one. We wanted to find something to do with like bugs or sharks or something. And so I was like, well, did we pass that Native American gift shop? Because we could stop in there and see what they have. It wasn't 30 seconds after I said that all of a sudden, like, the gift shop was just there on the right-hand side. we're like, okay. So Kevin passed it because it came up that fast when I was like, hey, we could stop here. Passed it, turned around, did a Yui, we went in. When I looked up online what their hours were, the hours said that they closed at 8. Well, the sign out front said they closed at 6, and we got there at 5:45. And I was like, well, now I feel like that asshole. So we go in, we're looking around, and we're kind of looking. Then we start getting into the good stuff. I start getting into the smudge bundles and the crystals and the Himalayan salt and all of that different kind of stuff, which I was really excited about. So I'm looking through all that stuff. Well, then I found there is this type of incense that I have been dying to buy for a really, really long time. Every time I see it, I want to get it, and I just never have. So we find it. It's this big display, and they're like this. So they are the Incense of the West is what they're called. And so this was a sample pack, and they're these little bricks, and they're all natural. They're basically made from like the sawdust of the different trees. So there's cedar, juniper, hickory, balsam fir, alder, all that different goodness. And so they have a very, very woodsy smell to them. I feel like anytime I walk into any kind of a Native American shop, this is the kind of smell that I smell, and I love it, and I could never figure out what the smell was. Well, I feel like it's this kind of incense, and I love the smell of it. It just smells so good. So I really wanted it. So there was this pack that came with this, which this is Burt Balsam Fir. So it came with this, and it came with an incense holder that I absolutely needed to have. And I was like, Kevin, I really need that. And I said, I don't know what to do. It's at this point, it's 5 minutes to close. And I was like, I need this. It was like $15. I said, but I also, Ari, I need to go to bed, honey.
I forgot something.
Okay, well, get what you need, and then you need to go to bed, okay? So I was like, I don't really know if you want the fir balsam, but I don't know what I want to do. And he's like, well, why don't you just get the sampler set? So I picked this up, and I'm like, okay, I'll get this. And I was looking at it, and I was like, you don't understand. Like, I need to, Aria, get what you're getting, and please go to bed.
Okay.
So I'm like, I need to have this. Like, you don't understand. I have to take this. So I end up getting both. So let me show you what this looks like, first of all, okay? Let me just show you. So this is the incense holder, right? It has the little bottom to it. That's a little jasper piece that I put in there. But this is what it looks like, okay? Now, you guys probably know what these are. I did not, okay? But this motherfucker spoke to me. I was like, I need this. I didn't know why. I needed it. So I get home, right? And I'm doing a Marco Polo to some of my soul fam, and I was like, guys, here's all the goodies that I brought back from my trip. Like, here are my rocks, here are my crystals, here are my, here's all the natural stuff that I found, and then look at this stuff that I got. This is like, I'm super excited about all this stuff. So Alora, she's like, she writes back, and she's talking to me, and she goes, do you even know what those figurines are on your incense holder? Because if you don't, you may want to look it up and see what kind of energy you're bringing into your home. And I was like, fuck, what did I do? Who did I have to appease? Like, because I mean, a lot of times there are companies that will just like plaster symbols on things and not know what they are. And I'm like, shit. So Kevin and I start looking it up, and we find out that it's the god Kokopelli, which you guys probably know. I did not know that those symbols actually had a name tied to them. So Kokopelli, and the first thing, as my husband's looking it up, he's like, so Kokopelli is basically the god of fertility, like fertility, childbirth, like healthy mothers, healthy childbirth, fertility of agriculture. Like it's a big fertility god. And I'm like, I mean, as most of you probably know by now, Kevin and I have been trying, I think we're going on 11 months, 10 months for baby number 2, and nothing's happening. So I was like, oh my God. So that was like, oh my God, moment number 1, where, you know, there's this basically this fertility god, this symbolism that I had to have and had no idea anything behind it. So, you know, we're looking up lore and we're looking up legend. You know, there's like lore about how, you know, Kokopelli, because he's a flute player, you'll notice in the images that he usually has a flute. You know, there's lore where he would come to villages and play his flute, and the next morning all of the maidens would wake up pregnant. Like he's an extreme, he can also be a trickster, not in a bad sense, but like in a, oh, you're looking for fertility? Well, guess your goats are pregnant, not you. Like there's like some trickery that can happen behind it, but for the most part, he's a very good-natured God that just comes around and you know, sometimes he'll come around. They talk about Native American legends where, you know, if you hear Kokopelli's flute, you know, while you're, you know, passing the pipe or that kind of thing, that, you know he's there. So there's a big thing about Kokopelli and his flute. Like he's always with his flute is kind of his thing. Okay. So I write back to Laura and I'm like, oh my God. So then we tell her the whole story about the store and how the store we were going to go to, because if we would have went to the original gift shop, we would have never went to this one. But the fact that that one was basically like wiped off the face of the earth, we couldn't find it. You know, I get here, there's this incense burner that I know nothing about, but I absolutely have to have, and, you know, fine. So we're telling her about all of this, and so she was kind of telling us a little bit more about the whole thing, and so it was just, we were really, really excited about the whole thing, because it made me optimistic that maybe this was, I don't know that much, like I said, about Kokopelli and how people work with him. I'm kind of doing my own thing. As you guys saw, I have like a little altar over there that I set up with the incense up top. I've got a little offering dish that Chase from Two of Owls gave me that I put like some cedar and some mint from outside as I get like more of my garden and stuff, because he is, you know, fertility of agriculture. So as I get like more plants that are getting bigger and doing well, I'll be able to give more offerings from my plants and stuff like that. So I really, really like the setup over there that I have. Now, here's where it keeps going, okay? So we are, we had a couple drinks last night. Not anything to where anybody was drunk. We just had a couple drinks. And we went to bed about, I don't know, somewhere between 11:30 and 12. So we're laying in bed, and our fan was on, and Kevin all of a sudden kind of went rigid, and he turned his head, and I could tell he was listening. And I'm like, what? Because that's how I am. Like, I have to automatically just like think that something's wrong. I'm like, what? What are you listening for? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know if Aria's doing something. He goes, it sounds like her tablet's on. Because she has a tablet that, for some reason, if an app is running, when you shut the tablet off, like you can still hear the app running at random times. It's weird. So we were listening, and we're like, nope, apps, you know, it has nothing to do with that. And he goes, this is going to sound weird, but it sounded like music. Like it sounded like a flute. And so, you know, I'm listening because I had heard something. I didn't know what it was, but I heard some kind of a melody, which is why I said the same thing. I figured it was Aria doing something in her room or a tablet. So we're listening, and we're quiet, and we're listening. And all of a sudden, now when I get like, I don't want to say messages, but I guess like if I have like spirit communication, or, you know, if something is around me, if something is around me, I will get like, I'll get chilled up. I get these tingles all on the top of my head around my crown chakra. And that usually tells me that something is either nearby or trying to communicate with me. Well, my entire body, including my head, it started at my head and went down. Everything like tingled up and chilled up. And I started hearing what I would describe as like a Native American flute, not like a brass high pitched flute, but like flute tones, like you would hear in Native American music. Like Google it, I guess. I don't know. So it completely chilled me up, and right after that happened, my cat outside my window started going ape shit. It sounded like she was in a fight with something, but there wasn't, like, I didn't hear another animal. I didn't hear another cat. I could just hear her go. It was just kind of like, and she did that for a little bit and then stopped. And then I heard her do it again and then stop. And at this point, I'm like in a fight or flight. Like, I have fucking Kevin's thigh in a like death grip. I'm pretty sure my claws are embedded in him. And I'm sitting straight up and I'm listening. And then it's dead quiet. And then I hear this long, sorry about the sun, I hear this long segment of music. And it was just like, I mean, it was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like, ooh. And then it was quiet, but it was the whole, like, I'm literally getting chilled up thinking about it. But it was like that whole segment, and then it was done. And him and I looked at each other because both of us heard it. And we're listening and listening. And it wasn't in our room. It was outside the window. Like, and where our window is like probably 15 feet from where our garden is. So it was like in between our window and the garden. It was right outside our window. And Kevin had said at one point, he's like, it feels like there's a lot going on in here. Like, it felt like there was a lot. It wasn't like an oppressive energy or anything like that. It just felt like there was a lot happening. So we're listening and listening. We heard a few other things here and there. And then, like, the chills started to subside. The energy kind of went away. Everything quieted back down. And I eventually settled back in, and we both went to sleep. But we were both looking at each other like, did we literally just hear? I mean, it sounds fucking nuts even saying it, but we're like, did we literally just hear like Kokopelli's flute? You know what I mean? After everything that happened, and then to randomly hear flute music like that after everything that we found out. So it was definitely a wild evening after coming home and kind of figuring all of that out. So this morning is when I kind of rearranged my little kitchen altar area and kind of set everything back up for Kokopelli. And like I said, I have, excuse our mini tacos. I've got the actual incense burner here, and there's Kokopelli, and you can see the flute. And then I've got a red jasper in there because the bottom does get hot, and so I'm burning it on red jasper. My fox candle, my mortar and pestle that we use for cooking. It kind of looks, originally I thought it was Buddha, but I don't think it is. It kind of looks more like native or Incan. I'm not exactly sure, but I felt like it fit well. So that's staying. Sweetgrass and sage and rosemary. And then this is also a bowl that I got from Chase for an offering dish. And so like I said, this was cedar, fresh cedar and fresh sage from the backyard, or Jesus, not sage, mint from the backyard. And so I burned a couple of the incenses in there. And then I'm keeping the ashes to be able to make black salt. So yeah, that went over. That was 19 minutes as opposed to, but I had to tell you everything. I couldn't just not tell you all the things. So that was our hour, because we both kind of went through it. The beginning of kind of figuring out on the fact that I think Kokopelli's like hanging out. So it'll be really interesting, especially since this is the week that my little miss, period's supposed to show up. So whether or not it does, it'll be it's just all very, I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I'm excited for the new thing. And like I said, the incense, if you guys ever want any of these, they smell fucking fantastic. And they make my house smell like exactly the way I want it to smell. So, I love you guys. Thank you very much for hanging out. I am going to go and eat and drink before I turn into a nasty, nasty lady because I am hungry. So I hope that you guys have an awesome night. And if any of you have any experiences or know anything about Kokopelli, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear all of your things. Last night I had Alora sent me like a YouTube video that was like flute music, like Kokopelli flute music, and it was just absolutely beautiful. So I'm kind of excited to dive into more of that. But anyway, hope you guys have an awesome night. I know it was an amazing experience. It really was. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you